Imagine being able to predict customer behavior, analyze millions of records in seconds, or build dashboards that help companies make billion-dollar decisions, or even create AI models that can forecast the future. Sounds exciting. That's exactly what data analytics and data science make possible. So welcome to the complete data analytics and data science course. Before we begin our journey, let me introduce myself. Who am I? Hello everyone. So my name is Prabjot Singh and I will be your instructor throughout this course. I've experienced teaching technical subjects, helping students understand complex concepts in a simple, practical and easy to follow way. Over the years, I have worked with technologies including Python, SQL, data analysis, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and cloud technologies. More importantly, I've spent a lot of time understanding how beginners learn and where they usually get stuck. That experience has helped me designing this course so that you just don't memorize the concepts but you truly understand them also. So why this course? Why I'm starting learning data science? So the answer to the question is when I was learning the data science, I noticed one common problem. Most courses either focus too much on the theory or they jump straight into the coding without explaining the why behind it. As a result, many students know the syntax but struggle to solve real world problems. And that's what I face also when I started learning. That's why I created this course a bit differently. Instead of simply teaching tools, I'll teach you how a data analyst or data scientist thinks. Every concept will be connected to the practical examples, business scenario, real data sets, so you understand not just how something works, but why it matters. So what you will learn together, we will start from the very basics. And with this, your entire course is divided into 9 modules from Python basics to the deep learning mastery. So your data science journey will be starting with the foundation where we will learn Python, we'll talk about Excel and we will be using SQL also. Where we'll learn how to write the queries, we'll learn the Python from the basics, we'll learn Excel also that how it can be helpful to us in this journey. Next, we'll focus on analytics part where we will be talking about statistics and visualizations. Then we'll move on to the very important concepts related to the machine learning. Then we'll also talk about advanced AI which will include natural language processing and deep learning. And with each of this journey or the course will be focusing on the business scenario, will be focusing on the projects so that we'll see how a data analyst thinks or how we practically work on the different data sets and how we think. And we also work at last on the real world projects also including everything at a stance. So module 1 will have Python foundations, Python basics, we'll talk about syntax, variables, data types. We'll also be working on the concept of OOPS, object oriented programming including classes, objects, inheritance. And we'll also be talking about dev environment in which we'll see the best practice, debugging and different IDs which are available. So in module 2, we'll talk about Excel mastery. We'll learn the fundamentals, formulas, functions. We'll be focusing on analytics part, that how we can use automation or pivot tables, how we can use Excel charts as a visualization in order to understand the theory, the summarization that we have to conclude as a data analyst. And then we'll also talk about some basic ML, machine learning in the Excel module, classification and regression. Then in module 3, we'll talk about SQL database power, where SQL fundamentals will be there, basic queries, join, filtering, sorting, and advanced techniques, user-defined functions, query optimization. So we'll master the data extraction and manipulation with comprehensive SQL training. Then in module 4, we will talk about statistics and probability. We'll talk about descriptive statistics, that understanding the concepts of mean, median, mode, variance, standard deviation, data distribution. You might be wondering that why we have to learn about mean, median, mode, why we have to talk about statistics. So when we talk about that, we need to understand about data. That is very much important to understand that how statistically it works. So if somebody tells me that you have the students, 50 students in a class, and they got these many marks, so what I am supposed to do with this? Obviously I might be supposed to understand, okay, what is the average marks that student have got, like where most of the student have got marks is in the upper range, lower range. This is why statistics becomes very helpful to us when we want to understand the data, and that's what we will see in this module 4, descriptive statistics. Then we'll also talk about inferential statistics, very important when we have to set up some before we collect the data, we have to set up some observations, we have to see some observation, we have to set up some assumptions. So how somebody can assume? That is why the inferential statistics is there. We'll see how this hypothesis testing, this confidence intervals or significance testing will help us. And we'll also learn the basics of probability theory, such as distribution, bias theorem, sampling methods, or event modeling. Then in module 5, we'll talk about Python for specifically data science, where we'll understand the process of ETL, that is extract, transform, load. We'll also talk about NumPys, pandas, and visualization. For that we have matplot, very important libraries with respect to the data science or data analytics. Then in module 6, we'll talk about machine learning mastery. We'll talk about supervised learning, unsupervised learning. We'll also talk about advanced algorithms such as random forest, support vector machine, KNN. In unsupervised, we have clustering algorithms, k-means algorithms, and in supervised, we have regression classification. Different algorithms which are there that we'll talk about one by one, and with each of this we'll have this module, we will also work on the different projects, right? Then in module 7, we'll be talking about natural language processing, because when we talk about data, it can be in any form. For example, a data of a student in the form of a table refers to a structured data, and the data which is representing in the form of an image called as unstructured data. And similarly, any data which is in the form of a text referred to as a semi-structured data. So with each different type of data, there are different challenges. How to extract the information from that? From the user viewpoint, if the data is in the form of a table, yeah, it is possible to extract with the different tools which are there, right? But with the unstructured or semi-structured data which is present in a different form, how first we have to get the data in the right format, and then we extract the information from there using various tools. We have to do some transformations. We have to work upon these. This is why natural language processing, that how we are going to process our text, how we are going to clean our unstructured or semi-structured data. For that, yes, we have different we'll say techniques which are there, like classification is there, sentiment analysis, we will talk about that, advanced natural language processing, in that language modeling, sequence tagging, that how does it work, and we'll also work on various applications, and we also try to create the chatbots, recommended engines, and that. Then in module 8, we'll talk about some deep learning concepts. We'll also understand that how deep learning is different from a machine learning, and how the algorithms of deep learning are solving the problems which might machine learning are not able to do that, right? So from basics to advanced, we'll talk in detail. We'll work on different data sets. We'll work on the implementation of those will this algorithms which are there. Yes, we'll use the Python for most of our tasks that we have to complete. If I get the time, obviously I'll also try to do what I'll try to work upon a tool also where I will help you in learning that we can also deploy the machine learning or deep learning algorithms on the cloud services that we have, right? For example, you talk about AWS or Microsoft Azure, which are there, right? And at last, we'll obviously work on the different business case studies and real world industry scenario projects once we learn everything. So this summarizes the entire modules that we have to work upon. So together we will learn from the basics, and all these modules will be focusing in detail. And one more important thing, what makes this course different is because this is just not a course where I'll just going to read the slides or I'll type the code for you. Instead, every lesson is designed to answer a question and solve a problem. We'll use storytelling, real world examples, visual explanations, hand-on practice to make even difficult concepts easy to understand. So my goal is just not to finish the course, it helps you become someone who can confidently work with the data. So whether you are a student or a working professional or someone looking to switch careers, you are in the right place. And I'm excited to be the part of your learning journey, and I hope that you are excited too. So I'll see you in the next video, and we'll start with the module 1, introduction to data analytics, and that. Thank you. Bye bye.